We're live.
Oh, we're hot! So I've been talking all day. Welcome everyone to Leaders Rising Session 5. As most people are muted, just do a motion with your body. Well, welcome everyone. It is so amazing to have everyone on here. I'm so excited for this call because it's really about building team, which is just so evident every time we get on a call with everyone. So I love this topic. And I want to introduce our special guest. And before I do, I would like to share a little bit about her. And I'm not going to give her recognition just to give recognition. I want you to listen to, and I want to see what stands out to you about these two things. So, this guest was a 2012 Rising Star Award winner, 2012 Woman of Isogenics, 2013 Shooting Star Award, 2013 Millionaire in Action, 2014 Spirit of Isogenics Award, number 2 team in IsoDerby 2012, number 6 team in IsoDerby 2013, number 10 IsoDerby in 2015, and Isogenics Millionaire number 161, Wendy Wangerin.
Thank you, Aaron. It's so awesome to be here. You guys have tons of energy. I was just sitting on the couch after dinner going, and now I'm like, come in here and I'm dancing. I don't need my e-shot now.
No, that's right. We just have e-shots flowing through all of us.
That's right. So thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. I didn't realize you guys were all on the same team. I'm going through all these pictures and I'm like, oh my gosh, let's love it. So exciting.
Well, and so for everyone, I want to give you a little bit of background, not just for what Wendy has been recognized for, but I wanted to share a little bit about who she is for me. And if you have gone to any event, I'm not kidding you, any event in Arizona, it was because Wendy had a hand and an idea and a piece and the motivation and the attitude to make that event happen. I'm not kidding. So Wendy, as I was thinking about the team, and Wendy is not a part of Stronger Together, but she is the person when I think about Isogenics and the one team missions. She is literally so for everyone in Isogenics winning. She is so for humanity winning. There is no barriers or separation for her, hence why she puts on all the events that she does. And what I wanted to point out is in her recognition, it's so clear that that's who she is, because you don't win those kind of awards without caring for people, without building a massive team, without building belief in your team, and without growing and adding value to your team. So Wendy, I just want you to know that's why I had you on here. And for everyone on here, that's who Wendy really is.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Aaron. I really appreciate that. It's awesome. Well, let me know what you guys want.
Absolutely. So not everyone knows your story. So I'd like to just have you share your story, which really, there's 2 pieces I see. And I'd like you to really highlight 2006 and then 2011, right? So you worked in corporate and then something happened that brought you to network marketing, and something happened again where you just exploded in this. So talk about your story and those 2 pieces.
Awesome. I sure will. Okay. So, all those nice little accolades sound amazing, but my journey has been like this, I've actually celebrated my 10-year anniversary, December 6th. Okay. So for me, I've been in corporate America all my life. I started in high school at American Express. So I grew up in that company and I got married young, had a baby. So I didn't go to college. So I just was there, and that's what I did. I made a 6-figure income, but it took me, 15 years to get there. And then the last 5 years, I just started to not, everything was changing, and there was something inside of me that wanted something more. I was like, this is all I've ever done, but I know there's something more out there. And so I have a passion for helping people. I think that does come out. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to become a life coach. Everybody seems to tell me their problems anyway. So I think, and I come for me for advice. I think I'd be good at it. And so I started getting certified and I started doing that on the side, but I found it very difficult to actually make 6 figures doing it so I could quit my day job. So that was really, what is happening. And for me, the stress of my job was creating a lot of not just mental stress, but physical stress. And I started to develop like I guess you could call it an eating disorder, but it was, more of an emotional. So I was so stressed out, I would eat, and just do it. I was up in the middle of the night working on problems for the systems, and became a pattern. And over the last 10 years of my career there, I gained almost 100 pounds. So I was, pretty desperate and really was looking for a solution for my health, but was really trying to figure out how I could help other people. And first of all, myself, right? So I could turn around and help other people. And I was listening to inspirational radio. And when I was working from home one day, and I heard a woman talk about isogenics. And it's so interesting because a month earlier, I heard about it. And I thought, wow, that's the second time I heard about that. But this woman I really respected. And she said she lost 10 pounds and she felt amazing. And that's all I heard was, she lost weight? Oh my gosh, I've never tried that. And I had literally tried everything. So this did not lap as somebody introducing it to me. I heard about it on the radio. I ordered my kit. I had no idea it was network marketing. I had a really bad experience in my 20s with network marketing. And so I was like, this, don't talk to me about it. So I'm so blessed that it didn't come across to me that way, and that I was able to, experience the product and then learn that this was an opportunity after I fell in love with the product. And that's kind of how it happened for me. My first 30 days, I had nobody coaching me. The box came from Chandler, which really kind of raised my curiosity. I was like, whoa, because I knew the woman I ordered it from was from Canada, right? I have a huge, my team is 60% Canadian. So I knew that, it was kind of like, whoa, this is kind of maybe something that I should really look into. And I figured over the next few weeks about that it was a business. And because I called Isogenics, I'm like, why are there people in my tree? So it was, and then I'm a smart person. So I looked into it and I thought, well, this is pre-Facebook. Okay. These are the olden days. And I had to, tell my family and friends, and I went to a meeting, and, God was looking down on me that day, because the very first meeting I went to, when I called Isogenics, they sent me to a local meeting. Susan Sly happened to be visiting here from Canada, and I met her, and she just happened to be in my upline. Isn't that weird? It's just a small world. And so I had her influence on very early. I was in 8 weeks, and she said, I want you to go exec. And I went exec a week later. I mean, it's crazy. Like, I think about it back then, and I'm like, I was so like, I'll do it, and I just did it. And that was before double PIBs. It was before everything. And I just remember thinking, I can do this. This is a way for me to help people. And, so I went on to lose 70 pounds in my first 8 months. It felt amazing. And at the time I was married to somebody else. I know Elliot Lindsay, you probably met him, right? So we decided that I would leave my job of 20 years and I would do Isogenics, because I was making a couple $1,000s a month, feeling awesome. Didn't quite, replace at all my income, but, we felt like we could really do this. And, and so I did that. And after about 6 months, I started to think, oh my gosh, I just quit the only job I ever had. And what if this doesn't work? What if I gain my weight back? What if? And guess what? I started gaining my weight back. So I started going into my old patterns, and I just got really lost. So I got to 2-star, and then I went through this 3-year, and I thought, I'm just going to life coach. I'm just going to stick with what I love. And my financial stress had me gain all my weight back. And I also looked at other companies, anything to do with weight loss, and that was disastrous. And everything brought me back to Isogenics. It kept bringing me back to Isogenics. And so I met somebody over the internet through life coaching in a community, and her name was Erin Postal. So a lot of you guys might know that name, right? And she and I became friends, and she said, when was the time that you can remember that you were the happiest? And I said, you know what? I was the happiest when I was doing Isogenics. I really loved it. I loved the culture. I loved the products. I loved the way I felt. She goes, well, what was the problem? And I said, well, I struggle with my weight, and I just didn't feel like I, could represent them. And she goes, pardon my French, she goes, that's bullshit. That's what she said to me. And I'm like, what? She's like, are there anybody in that company making money that is not at their ideal weight? And I went, yeah. And she said, this is your story. She goes, that's not what it is. People are buying you. And if you decide that that's your story, then then you can make that your story. And so it just hit me in a way, And I said, well, what should I do? I don't want that to be my story. Here I am, a life coach, and I'm like, tell me what to do. And, it was so interesting. And she said, go to Celebration, because I told her about the event. She goes, you know what? I'm going to sign up and I'm going to support you, and I'm going to do a 9-day because I think I need to do a cleanse. And so she was doing it to be nice. It was so divine, I'm telling you. And, I went to Celebration, came back, and I had her join my ISA Derby team. And that was my 2012 win. And Erin, who didn't like network marketing, just wanted to do this in secret. She ended up getting #1 in points for the entire company that year. And she fell in love with this industry. I met her when she was finally in person. I met her when she was making $10,000 a month. And, that after being a 2-star, I went to that event, and I ended up going, I was probably cycling 6-7 times a week at that point. I went 3-star, from 2-star to 3-star. I wasn't even cycling at a 2-star. I went all the way up to 3-star in 2 months, and then I went 4-star 6 months later, and then 8 months after that I went 5-star. So it was very quick for me when I made a decision, and I decided to get out of my own way. So, and that was just really interesting and fun. And a lot of things happen. Life hits us, and I'll tell you what, I love residual income, because back in 2013, after 2 years of building hard, my ex-husband decides to leave. And so for 2 years, I was just, but the best thing about that, now I'm in heaven. Don't worry, I got remarried, all is well. But going through that, it was not easy for me, and I didn't have to worry financially. So I absolutely love this combo. So it's the perfect combination. So I hope that was my story.
No, absolutely. There was so many things in there I just really wanted to ask you about too. One thing I love that you said in 2012, you made a decision. And can you talk a little bit about what that decision was? Like what did you actually decide?
Well, after deciding to go to Celebration by myself, I went to San Diego, and I was sitting in the audience, and I knew some people because I knew people in Isogenics, but I didn't have a team there. And I sat in the audience, and that was the year Jill Birth won. So 2011, she won 125 grand. That's so amazing. And I just sat there, and I was like, oh my gosh, and I looked at her with all her 24 before pictures, and I'm like, I've got like 108 before pictures. I beat that, and I was just like, I could relate to her so much. And that's what was in my way. I didn't have any really doubt in myself other than that was, what are people going to think about me? And, can I hold up to that? And quite frankly, I still definitely struggle with my weight. I am not at my ideal weight, but I have managed to become a millionaire in this company and still be a little bit overweight. And so I really feel like people get in their own way, right? Because I love people, and that's what comes through. And if you just decide to not make it about you, and that's what I had to learn. And so for me, that decision is sitting in that audience. I didn't know what the heck ISA Derby was, and that was introduced, and like it was, I guess, the year before, but I was like, oh my gosh, there's contests, and I'm super competitive. So I was like, I can do this. And it just was like a very defining moment where I just got super I'm not going to have one toe in anymore. I'm doing this. So I stopped my life, stopped doing everything but dedicating myself. And I said to Susan, I said, tell me everything I need to do, and I'm going to do it. And she said, you need to go 3-star by this date. And I did it. And she's like, and then she said, get an ISA Derby and win it. And we did it. Like, I just kept, whatever she told me to do, I did it. So I said to her last week, we're at the spa, and I go, tell me what to do, Susan. I want to max out my business. Tell me what to do. It was so funny. She was laughing. But yeah, so that's really kind of what happened. It was a decision that I had to make.
And that's so great. Thank you for being just authentic with where you're really at. And I think all of us are starting to find it's the authenticity about wherever we're at that's so relatable and attracts other people to this, right? Okay. Even if you have a product, okay, it's great, whatever, there's business models, whatever. It's like when you find a group of people that are authentic, standing for supporting each other, I feel like that is a huge thing, right? And so this today is really about building and adding value to the team. So one thing I was thinking that I really wanted to ask you, teams like yours and teams like ours, they don't get built on just enrolling a lot of people. And, to be a leader in a network marketing company is about finding influencers. It's about being clear on the qualities that you want to attract, right? So what is it that you would actually say to people? How were you casting that vision, or what was it that you got clear on? What were you saying to people to really build the leaders around you? Because like I said, it's not just about enrolling people.
Right. Well, that's such a great question, because I think that from the very beginning, we're teaching people not only how to treat us, but what we expect. And about, the belief of where I was going, and had it, and it was really grounded into what my vision for my life was. So instead of me telling them what my goal was and I made it more inclusive. I am so passionate about helping as many people as I can be free from this financial pain, and be free from their health. Like, I've always struggled with my weight, and it's just, something I want to help people. And people would just be like, okay, they just would want to get on board with that. So it was more of an inclusive, not just about me. And then I would really get to know their, what it was about them that they weren't satisfied with. So when people ask me, do you lead with a business or do you lead with a product? I say both, because I don't really know the person. Everybody's individual, and I listen to what they have to say and what their needs are and what their goals are. And, everybody has a body language. So even more, I built my business a lot like this, online and on phone calls, and it's really important to read people, and you can slowly start to gradiently get to them to really share with you if you really authentically care, right? So that's what I do, is I really think it's important to get to know. If somebody just loves what they do and they have no interest in earning extra income, fine. But, let's get you really having an amazing result. And I know people are going to ask you anyway, and then you can refer them to me. Are you cool with that? And they'd be like, oh, absolutely, I'll do that. And then after like 4 or 5 referrals, they're like, okay, just show me how to enroll these people. It was just because I would never force it. And that's really my style. Is I'm not a sales. People would be getting people on a 3-way call with me and be so afraid their friends are going to be sold. And I'm all about just helping and serving. And I think that just comes across. So I want to find out how I can help them. If they're not interested in making an income, great. Tell me what you loves doing, because so many people don't. And I would get them telling me things, and then you'd find that one thing in there. Maybe it was the time, right? Or maybe it was, they don't have, I love what I do, I just don't have enough time. And, and then it's about, what would you do if you could find a little bit more time in your day? So maybe, you didn't have to work so much, you could be with your family, or so that because time you can't buy, right? It's really important, not to be, even if you love what you do, you still want to have that flexibility. So there's always a way, and that's what I listen for. But it's really about them and what they want. So not everybody does this, but I turn consultants very quickly as well, because a standard in our team is basically, okay, well, what we do is we get 2 people to do this with us. So who do you know that we can talk to this week? And they just start thinking about it. I don't tell them, oh, let me share this and that. I just say, this is what we, and then after they start looking, then I'm like, okay, we're going to go through when your box comes in, and we're going to, I'm going to show you about the rebates, but they're already looking for their 2, you know what I mean? So it's really about setting that standard and teaching people right from the beginning. So again, I don't even know if that answers your question.
It does. No, absolutely does. And you added so much more too. So thank you so much. It made me think of, would you and do you talk to just anybody, or are there particular people that you're out looking for to share this with?
Yeah. Well, I definitely am not ever in a convincing mode. So I'm pretty selective. If I meet somebody if somebody that I don't know and I'm out there and they have a great personality, I will start a conversation and I'll say something to them. Like, I'll ask them what they're doing. Do they love it? And if they do, I'm like, great. I would love to find out exactly, I love to meet people who come to me because they don't like what they're doing. So I want to know what you do and why you love it so much. It's so interesting. We just start a conversation, and that to me is what it's all about, is getting to know people and breaking down barriers. And so I am selective. Like, I'm not going to recruit my waiter if they're crabby, and I'm not going to, in that aspect of it. But like, if I go out and I'm networking at different meetings and different groups, I am not going there thinking, who can I enroll? I'm just thinking, who can I connect with that I want to build a relationship with, because it's more about that for me. And then eventually it comes down to, them probably wanting to learn what I do, and, who doesn't want to get healthy? And then it just morphs into more than that, so people will do business with you if they like you. So you have to really build the relationships.
Oh, so good. What are some of the groups you go to, like, specifically? Because I know that's something that some of our team has asked, like, well, for you, right, and it's going to be different, but what are some of the groups that you go to just to meet people?
Yeah. So I will only do one like business networking group where people are promoting their own businesses, like say eWomen or, stuff like that. Only because they're there to promote themselves, but I definitely want to be in that professional arena and learn from other people. And it still works really well because I end up getting people on my product. But what I really find has worked out better for me is joining just different meetups and different groups that have interests of mine. So like whether I'm going to be doing a hiking club or a walking club or, something in that area. I am not really good at crafts, but people can do like, crafting or whatever, like, scrapbooking, but it's just about getting to a place where it's not about, networking and doing business, but building relationships. Really helps solidify because eventually people are going to be like, well, tell me what you do, because I'll be bringing my shakes, then they'll be asking me about, oh yeah, this is my stuff that I do. And then I just stop. And I just love it when people want the information. Like I don't ever just try to dish it out to them or convince and that's really important too, because people can kind of sense when you're trying to do that. So I build the relationships. It takes time, but it's worth it.
Oh, that's so perfect. This is a relationship business after all.
It really is.
And so that brings me to another question. Love how you share with people, where you meet people. Your standard is, look, we just start with 2 people because it's way better. So how about then building belief in your teammates that may have come on for the product, in particular for their own health. They've started with 2 people. Consultants, if you will, that are already enrolled, that really cast a vision or have them be motivated to say, yeah, and actually have them go manager, director, right. Executive.
Right. And, again, everybody at their own pace. You have to meet people where they're at. So if people are truly only interested in getting their products paid for, then I don't, but I put them in our groups, the culture's amazing, our product group. And I ask permission when they start to want to get their products paid for, if they want to be moved into our business group, because we do a lot of different things that'll help you learn a little bit more about how you can maybe expand this or help other people. So it's really always permission based. I don't push that on people, but because I'm always working on my relationship. So for instance, if I enroll somebody who doesn't have a computer and they're like 70 years old and they just, they love our shakes, but I'm not going to spend as much time to have a good result. So I'm going to probably touch base with them once a month. But anybody else that like, if they're open to getting their products paid for, but maybe they don't want to build a business because they're busy, but I know in my heart they have the potential, then I'm just going to meet with them. And it's not going to be about isogenics. I'm going to start to just make sure that I touch base with them, make sure they're healthy, make sure they have good options. Hey, did you know that we're having this new shake come out? And that's it. But I'm not going to push them on the business, but I want them to see the culture. And then all of a sudden a Super Saturday will come up and I'm like, you know what? I would love for you to attend this with me. They're going to be doing some product training. I think it'd be good for you to be around the other people. And then they're more open to coming. And then it's about really just expanding on that, right? They get there and they're like, a lot of times, who wouldn't with Susan Sly and all these people that we've been having speaking. So I do a lot of that, but I don't push them. And that's the most important thing. You cultivate that relationship. I've had people that have been product users for 2 or 3 years before they started building. And I just never give up on them. And I touch base with them and I don't pressure them. And then, all of a sudden one day they're like, you know what, my aunt's interested. And then all of a sudden it clicks for them. And I don't know what it is, but timing is really crucial and not being pushy. So meet people where they're at, but believe in them and, make sure you're staying connected to them.
That is so good. And it's almost like you knew my other questions because it was really going to talk about events and just, I was going to say in general, and then ask about like why Isogenics is different, but talk about what is it about events and why is it just so important to get people, invite people and have them attend events?
Right. Well, I think innately people thrive to have, obviously relationships and have that sense of community. So number one, they're going to see our culture. They're going to feel that are happy and positive. But more importantly, when you're doing this on your own and say you really do want to build a business, but you don't really know, your skills aren't really there, because even if you're good in sales, people go, oh, I'm really good in sales. And I'm like, great, this isn't sales. So, just throw away what you know. And because quite frankly, this isn't, do we sell? Yeah, we're selling everything that we do in life, but it's different because it's so much more about relationships and about being part of something. Because I have people that will go to every single event, and some of them haven't even sponsored one person, but they want to be there. They want to be part of it. And so if somebody has the potential to really do this, and they go to an event and they really see it, so it builds their belief, not just in the company and in the industry, but in themselves. They see other people that they can relate to. That was literally what made me decide so much bigger than I thought. Their mission is so aligned with mine. They're like everything. And they were just talking and right to me, and there was nobody else in the room. And, it was such a great experience for me. And so I go to every event. Obviously I put on events because I think it's so important to have a lot of them. And again, the one team concept is really important because I believe that everything comes back to you, and to, never exclude anybody. And I know there's some segregation in Arizona, but, in the most part, other teams, even we invite them to speak and they come, and, as long as we get to learn from everybody, I think that's really important because, I just learned so much from other people and other teams, and I'm going to start playing music on my team calls now because of you.
Yes. Well, Jocelyn plays Justin Bieber, and sometimes I play Tiesto, so there's a wide range. Something I just thought of, actually, because I know a lot of people on many teams are really interested they may be remote, right? They may not be in Arizona. So, how do I do my own launch party? How do I start events? And you are the master. So this is the perfect question. If I'm someone that's saying I live in a remote state, for instance, and I'm just building my team here locally, what is the most important thing about hosting an event?
Yeah. So the most important thing is just, again, getting out of your own way and getting out of your head, and just think about what you're doing is you're sharing a gift. So when you're inviting people, to something that you're super excited about, whether, it may not even be for you, but I just want you to know about it, know what I'm doing, so you can refer people to me, like letting them off the hook that you're not expecting them to, but come for that very first one. If I'm not in the same city or state as them, and there's not another leader that's near them, what I'll have them do is invite a small group of people, and then we'll do this, and we'll get on a Zoom, or we'll get on and they'll just have me in the kitchen while they're taste testing and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, when it's time to do the presentation, they'll sit around and they'll listen to me on the big screen, and I'll do it, and I'll have somebody in front of them, holding up the products, or I'll have, like, it's very interactive still. And I also have testimonials lined up, like whether it's somebody else on the Zoom or if it's somebody else in the room. So you can do a virtual launch party very easily to have people come to their house, but at the same time have the people that can't make it to the house be on Zoom, right? And it's actually a lot of fun. And then they can see, oh my gosh, I could probably do this. This is, I don't have to do it all myself. Not stuffy, all of those things. So.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much for that insight. And it probably, I would imagine, for the host, takes a lot of pressure off them. Like, they don't have to know what to say, for instance, or.
Yeah, it does. And, and we go through before everybody, obviously before they even begin that evening, and make sure that they are comfortable with their story, sharing why they're there. We practice, because I don't want them to get up there and be like, eh. But I also want them to speak from the heart. So, we really go through that. And I get them to tell me about every single person that's going to be there, so that we know what their goal is and what they think maybe their goal is. So I don't ever just invite people and expect them to show up. I make them call them and say, listen, I know that you may not even know what this is or anything like that, but I would so appreciate if you come and just see what I'm doing. I just want my friend, I want you guys to know what I'm doing. So just support me, come, try my stuff, have some healthy stuff. Cause I'm, usually we do healthy happy hours, I'll have some wine, we'll have some hummus. So just keeping it fun and light so people don't feel pressure.
We'll send you dessert hummus then.
Yes, I know. I hear about this. I want some.
Well, so I didn't want to take up any longer than a half hour for you. But one of the things I just really got present to, for everyone on this call right now, hearing the impact that events makes, right? And Wendy is hosting a Super Saturday, February 18th with Susan Sly. So if you haven't gotten your ticket, this just came to me. Seriously, get that ticket. The events are amazing. And, from one of the best in the business, that's how you really grow a business. That's how you build belief in people and yourself. So let's all get to the Super Saturday on February 18th.
Yes.
Who's going to go?
Raise your hand. And it's so interesting that I'm glad you brought that up because I forgot that we're all from Arizona here. But, not only is Susan going to be there, but Dr. Paul Anderson's coming in just for this. We have corporate there. We're going to be giving away all the products from President's Pack. There'll be free enrollment. We've got Luna Pang, who now lives here. And a lot of people aren't familiar with Luna. Luna was around when I first started. She used to be married to Ron Reed. She's amazing. She's got a little ball of fire, but she's been in the Asian market for the last 4 years. So people here aren't really familiar with her. And she's, like a 9-star or something. She's doing really well. And, so it's going to be a lot of great energy, a lot of fun. And we will sell it out. I could only get one room at the embassy. So we only have about 175 tickets available. And they're coming out to that point where I have to cut it off. So if you guys know people in your team you want there, make sure you encourage them. It's isasupersaturday.com to make sure they get their tickets. Okay. And if you want me to answer a few questions, my next call is not for till 8, Aaron, so I can answer if you guys have any, if anybody has any questions.
Typically, just how we had set the calls up, we have some topics prepared, and the bros are gonna bro together and the topics. But I just want to say thank you so much. It just shows again how much you care for Isagenix, for people being well, that you would be on a call with us. So thank you so much just for allowing me to text you, and it wasn't even a question. You're like, absolutely, I'll be on there. So I just want to thank you so much. And if anyone wants to unmute their line and say thank you to Wendy,
we love you, Wendy. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome. Love you guys. I'm going to leave. You guys continue on, but I'll see you on the 18th.
Wendy.
Bye.
Oh, so great. Wow, amazing. So I want to jump right in like I just previewed. The bros are going to take over for the rest of the call. And if you're unfamiliar, the bros, it's just something that I've really been, me and Elliot and Drew and Danny and Michael, given we're probably the only main guys on this team, but we're really about, for us together to have a group within this group of guys that support one another, and we really wanted to bring the team building to you. So I'd like to just kick it right over to Drew already. Drew, you would lead us into building team and the importance of events?
Yeah. So, we all just heard Wendy speak, like what was it for her was going to events. I mean, I don't think you can get any clearer than that, right, guys? This is somebody who, I don't remember how many accolades you just listed off there, Aaron, but that was just incredible, right, for who she is. And it all started with going to events. One of the things that you'll realize too, so the first event is for you. The first event is definitely for you. And after that, I mean, all of the events are going to be for you, but I have found sometimes I'm like, I'll start zoning out a little bit. I'm like, well, okay, this event coming up, I'm going to hear the same thing. It's not about me. It's about bringing everybody else on the team. It's about bringing new people on so they can catch the vision, right? That's one. The second reason to come, I don't know about you guys, but once in a while I get in a slump. I think it happens to a few of us here a little bit. And so you go and you get to be a part of the energy. You get to be a part of the team. This last New Year's kickoff was hands down the best event ever that I've ever been to. And honestly, it had very little to do with what went on up on the stage. It had everything to do with Danny being there, with Elliot and Lindsay and Eva and Jocelyn and Michael, and just the whole team coming together like one big family. Like everybody that has been there, I mean, come on. I know everybody is just blowing up the lines. Everybody's posting, everybody's excitement is up, everybody's energy's up. And if you didn't go, you missed that. And it's not like, you're wrong for not going, but there's something that's missing by not showing up to those events. Now, I want to share something personal too. So early on, when I started my journey in isogenics, Eva always consistently told me, if you want to do anything at all, you've got to show up at events. So I did. I didn't enroll my first person until New Year's kickoff, which was my first major event. And actually, I didn't create my first consultant until I'd been in for a year. The thing that I did consistent was show up to every single event. It didn't matter what it was. It didn't matter where it was. I used like 80%, 85% of my vacation time to go to isogenics events. And that was a lot for me. And there were times that I'm like, damn it, I don't want to give up my vacation time. I don't want to be doing this. But it paid off. And shortly after celebration, after I'd been in for a year, I went from 0 consultants to 6 consultants within 13 days, right? Anything is possible, but you have to be consistent. You've got to show up, you know, and there's something about showing up to events that also, as leaders, right? If you're asking for time and energy from your mentors, showing up to events, that's a great way to show that you're really into the game, for everybody. And then the second part of this, right, Aaron, that you wanted me to touch on was connecting people in the team. I really liked what Wendy said. Like, another reason I showed up to events too was just because of the culture. It's fun to hang out with your friends, right? And we have something, we have a gift. This community, this team is a gift that we can spread throughout everywhere, right? So bringing people into this community, welcoming them in. Like, so I have a girl, Jody, who I went to high school with. And, you know, she's a mom. And let's see, she was breastfeeding, so she had questions. Who did I connect her to? Luis. You know, and connect people. You got healthcare professionals, you know, say you bring in a nurse, connect them with Jocelyn. You got somebody who wants to rock climb, definitely connect them with me or Mr. Danny over there. There's something about bringing people into the community, and I can promise that your retention rate will be so much higher when they actually connect to the community though, right? Because it's going to do a couple of things. It's going to give them more than one person to just connect to. And so let's just say somebody has a quick question and they can't get a hold of me. They can't reach out to me. They'll have somebody else to reach out to. You know, if they don't feel comfortable per se posting it on Stronger Together. Also, for guys and girls, whenever I bring in a female, I always say, I'm going to introduce you to another girl on the team. Because what if you have questions that you're not comfortable sharing with me? Maybe there's something going on that you don't really want to share with me as a guy. So that gives them the opportunity to share, and there's another female that they're connected to. Same for you ladies, right? If there's some guys that have questions that they don't feel comfortable coming to you, they can reach out to us guys. So connecting people to the community is huge, and hands down events. I'm really bummed I'm not going to make it to this Super Saturday because my brother's getting married. So I'll be in Orlando, Florida. Hoping you guys have lots of fun, but I'll be having a ton of fun myself. So, all right, back to you, Mr. Aaron.
Drew, loved it. And just looking at the time, I wanted to drop it over there to our bro Lindsay, our bro Elliot.
Yo!
Tell us a little bit about adding value to our teammates and to the team in general.
So I'm going to actually switch gears because it's going to flow. It's going to flow like water. First of all, I love you guys, and you guys are so pretty on here. Like, shake it out. Like, let's move a little bit. Let's get re-energized. Shelly, I see that was not shaking. Shelly, there you go. Ah, yeah. Now we're talking. All right. So one of the topics Aaron wanted me to share on was using IsoBody to build a massive team. And I think IsoBody, one, best practice is get people enrolled in the IsoBody the first day they enroll. Like, that is part of them getting enrolled. When you're sharing with them what this is about, it's, you're going to, one, there's free shipping, right? So that's going to roll into the IsoBody, where they're also going to get free products when they complete the IsoBody, $200 worth, right? So that in itself is such an amazing retention tool. But two, everybody has a journey. I don't care where you're at. And when you're going along in your journey, you are so much more relatable. It is so much more fluent, ease, right, to invite people along with your journey, where if you're at like the peak of your journey and you're not trying anymore, it's not as contagious. When you're up something, when you're part of it, I mean, raise your hand if you continually just roll into IsoBody back to back to back. Yeah, that's where it's at. I love it. You guys are on point. But everybody has a journey. And when you're going along with that journey, you're relatable, and it's so much easier to share. So take a look at like Holly DeMont, use these stories from the IsoBody, use the before and afters. People are visual. They want to see people with a similar story to them and their results. So when you connect that, just like Drew just went over, when you're connecting people, just connect them with find out what their goals are, and connect them with a similar story using the IsoBody. There's 100 people losing 100 pounds, people putting on 50 pounds of muscle. I mean, literally everybody. I mean, there's like 15,000 people enrolled in the IsoBody. So you can find a story under like any story underneath the sun to connect them and help them along that journey. So back to team. So now the next topic is team engagement and adding value. And I wanted to get the definition of engagement. I'm stealing this from Caroline. So there's two of them. One, the action of parts of a machine when they connect with each other. And connect really hit home for me. And then the other one is the the feeling of being involved in a particular activity. So you got connected and you got involved, right? So imagine you're going along with somebody in this IsoBody challenge, and you start up a group, you're posting with them, you're chatting with them, you're holding each other accountable. Not only is that great for you, but what does it have them doing? They're going to feel connected to you and the journey, and they're going to feel involved. And also, I would recommend connecting them with other people in the team as well, because the more people connected, the more energy there is, the more excitement there is, the more accountability there is. And people aren't, let me just fill you in, people are not just drinking shakes and getting a cleanse and feeling good and getting ridiculously sexy, okay? Yeah, that's awesome. That's what we're selling. But what they really want to eat is the soul food. They want to be connected. They want to be part of community. That is, you want somebody to be engaged. First of all, everyone on your team is going to be 50% the level of engagement as you are. That's just what the major leaders say, and I tend to listen to them because they make a lot of money and they're very successful, so why not, right? But they're going to be 50% of engaged as what you are. Now let's take a look at your engagement. Are you engaged from a place of texting them, checking off a box? Oh, I got to connect with Aaron. Hey, bud, how you doing? Danny, what's up, dog? Christy, looking good, girl. Lindsay, want to squeeze your butt? Like, if you're just checking the box, going down the list, that's what you're duplicating for engagement. You want to find people, like Wendy said, you're connecting with people who, and your team is going to be, you're connecting up. This is your team, right? These are your board of directors. So when you're engaging them, whether they're new or not, you want to engage them from a spiritual level. You want to get with them, like, what is up with your life? Like, how can I serve you today? What's going on? What are you struggling with? Here's what I'm going through. Can you help me with this? People love to coach. Everyone loves to coach. Everyone wants to be on stage coaching. Have them help you. Guess what? Connection is all a moving part. This part's moving this part, which is also moving that part. If they're moving you, they are engaged. tidbit. If they are moving you, they are engaged. Be like, just, even if you don't need help, I don't care. Aaron, bro, like my abs. You took your shirt off today in spin class. It gave me a complex. Help me with my abs. He wants to help me. It's all gonna, like, that is engagement. Adding value. Okay, here we go. So I want to talk about adding value. So it's going to go hand in hand with that spiritual post, spiritual conversations. But people like memes, people like humor, people want to see who you are, right? But they want authenticity. They want real conversations. They want people to dive into what's really ailing them. Sucks to say it sometimes. Sucks to be that authentic, that transparent. Sucks to talk about. Yeah, it's uncomfortable. But that's what people want, because we're all connected. What you're going through, somebody else is going through that same damn thing, and they need a breakthrough. And if you're going to sit and be scared in a door, I'm talking to myself here, but if, like, we're all on this journey together, but if we're going to be sit and scared to tell people what the real issues is for ourselves and how we're either, one, not overcoming them, or over two, overcoming them, or three, seeking help on how to overcome them, no one's getting a breakthrough. You're sitting alone, scared in the closet, peeing in your pants while somebody else needs that same advice. So, I mean, just adding value is just coming from such a place of authenticity and just love and, like, just being real, just getting through the weeds and just telling people, like, what's on your soul, what is your vision, what is your quest, what is your mission. That's what's sexy to people. That's what people want. That's what people need. People are stuck in a cubicle. Danny was telling me a story today how he's doing this new temp job. He's stuck behind a desk, slumped over, looking at medicine, counting the register and the pills, and he's just always hunched over. And just imagine everybody in that industry just for 8 hours a day, standing up, slunched over, looking down through life, 8 hours. And we all know that adds up to like 56,000 hours or some ridiculous stat. But people need to know that there's something bigger and better. And the only way they're going to know that is if you connect with them from a place of, like, you're on fire, you're magnetic, you're appreciative of the opportunity, you're going somewhere, no matter what. And that's what that's adding value. That's adding excitement. That's adding vision. That's what people crave and need. Wow. Did I just go on a soapbox or what? Jeez. Anyway, thanks for listening to me. I'm going to kick it over to my beautiful stud over there, Aaron, with the ripped abs, who gave me a complex in spin class. Aaron, you on?
Yeah, I clicked on the chat and not the unmute.
Oh.
Elliot, well, thank you so much for all of that. And just to kind of piggyback off of the, Elliot team, but from a social perspective, from a Facebook perspective, Jocelyn does such an amazing job of talking about social media and having it be high vibration, high energy. I mean, who has noticed a significant difference in the energy of the team in the past 3 weeks? Yeah. Who has noticed a difference in the authenticity and the realness of people on the team? Aaron. Danny, Jocelyn, Meckler in the other room. And that's something I just really want to point to, right? And I'm going to steal this other piece from Jocelyn too. There was a point in which when she was sharing a lot and started to become a leader, there was no point where Lisa and Lindsay had a call. What now is the time that we invite Jocelyn to the table of leaders? That's not a real thing. Jocelyn, and I'll speak to her because she really took this on. She pulled her chair up to the board of directors table, if you will. She said, "I am a leader. I'm up in this," and not from like a forceful perspective, but said, "Hey, I want to contribute," and that's what this team was about. So Jocelyn talks a lot about this. If you're waiting and kind of sitting back and saying, "Man, I really want to get that call from Elliot that says I'm now a leader on this team," you already are. But it's going to be up to you to pull your chair up and say, "Hey, I'm jumping in on this, and I'm want to contribute. I want to be in the mastermind. I want to kick ideas around. And that is actually how we should be sharing. You don't have to, but sharing and saying, if you have great ideas, I want to hear about it. If you have an idea for a particular group, like maybe there's hikers, or maybe there's rock climbers, maybe there's a group of handstanders and someone like wants to create that, yeah, run with that, do that, really empower people for what they're motivated by. Why? Because that's going to be their zone of genius. And we really want to start to have people discover what's their zone of genius, what's their self-expression inside of this, and really have people step up. And, it just has them feel engaged, like Elliot said, connected and a part of a community. We really want to, as leaders ourselves, really have that be an environment and cultivate that kind of energy and collaboration with everyone. So on social media, I'm trying. A part of that, I'm stealing this from Michael now. A couple of weeks ago, we were talking about the Facebook group, and to be honest with you all, for me, it was like, I know that I have to get on the Stronger Together page. I have to like as many newcomers as I can. I have to go, and I'm saying have to for a reason. I have to welcome as many people as I can, and then I have to switch over to the business page. I have to welcome people over there. And now that I did that, I have to post content in both pages. I'm like, oh my gosh. And what I noticed is, and Michael pointed this out to me, that doesn't even matter. If I'm having this as a task, like I'm going through there and I'm trying to click as many likes as I can to welcome people, that's not going to make a difference anyway. And Michael really pointed this out to me and said, he stopped having it be about how many times he can log on, how many people he can actually welcome, and he would go to someone's post, right? I'm just going to pick on, is Rachel even on here? I kind of like to pick on Rachel. She's not on here. I'm going to pick on Natalie. If Natalie welcomes somebody, Michael would go on there. He would read the post, and he would really get that took something, not only for Natalie to have the conversations that she had, whatever was there for her, to have her friend be a yes to seeing about a community, and now her friend is on a community where she doesn't know anybody. And Michael would go and would read that, and he would authentically share and really get, I know what it took for this group and for Natalie to add this person. Maybe it's a family member, maybe it's a close friend, but he got that, right? And maybe he didn't write all that, but I promise you just told me that you get the difference that the energy has been making. That's where it starts. And it's not like I can see an amount of messages going through, but that's the kind of energy that we bring. People can feel that. And I promise you that's what's been happening in our team, is because people like Michael isn't just going through there. And now I'm not just flipping through. I actually do this now. And I'm really getting the same thing for myself. Like, who is this person to Eva? Who is this person to Gary? And what did it take for them to get here? And I'm actually commenting and welcoming them from that kind of standpoint. And that's just elevating our high vibe. And so from a high vibe, that's really what I wanted to share on that. If you have specific social questions, go to Jocelyn, because it's not really my zone of genius. But that's something I noticed that has really been making just such a huge difference. And then so and I can hear Jocelyn in the back talking, so that's why I was laughing. I really want to jump back over there to Drew and bring in the events piece. And one thing I want to talk about is, what is it like to lead at an event? Because you heard from Drew, and if you were at NYKO, you felt the difference. Like, there was something very different about being there. And like Lisa said, it wasn't because content really changed. I mean, it wasn't like an extraordinary leader that spoke. It wasn't like something radically different. But for us on this team, something did change, right? So what was it? And I wanted to point to some of the things. And it didn't just happen. It actually was intended. So for events, and now that you are a leader of your team, to really say, I am that leader, right? And I am going to take responsibility and step up and say, I'm going to have my people feel connected, I wanted to share some of the things that us as a leadership group talked about, and we intended it this way, right? So, for instance, I thought to myself, man, there's been events that I've gone to, and it'll be like day 2, and I'll think to myself, oh my gosh, Joe Smith is here, right? I'm like, I don't even know where he's sitting. I forgot he was even here. And those were the things I started to make note of, like, wow, that really didn't set anybody up for success. Like, it takes people a lot. Like, maybe they overcome ITO or something to get to an event, and I wasn't even conscious of where they were sitting, right? So knowing that, I had learned that. So going into NYKO, we as a leadership group said we're going to open up a line of communication so people can feel connected no matter what. And that's why we opened up that Facebook thread that was NYKO Squad. And 2 weeks before the event, people were in communication with each other. They knew who was going to be there. And I knew that starting that conversation would, elevate the energy. People would get excited. And at the event, people would know what was going on. And they would know where people were sitting. They would know who was at the event. And I can't point to anything else in particular, but I know that made a difference from that perspective. And now something else that as a leadership group we noticed that at ISA, we really got to the room early, and we sat like right behind the row of millionaires. Christy's laughing. I don't know if that's because she knows where I'm going. But Chrissy, Eddie was with us, right? And because we had made the decision that we wanted to sit closer, for me, I wanted to like bump shoulders with a couple of the leaders. I mean, like I love Chris Harder and David Norrie, and for me, it's cool to like run into them. And I knew I would run into them if I was sitting closer. But what was extraordinary was that all sitting up there, we were writing down our 30-second stories, and Chrissy actually got to go on stage and share her 30-second story. And I wish she was on here so she could share. That's not something she's ever going to forget. She shared in front of 1,500 people and thousands of people that were live. And she had an experience of an event, and that she couldn't have even really thought that she would get from an event, right? So as a leadership group, we got really the energy, right? It comes down to energy again, of what it is to sit close, to be in a position where we don't know what's going to happen. Like for me, I'll just share a little bit. I ran into a lady named Robin, and she's an Isogenics millionaire. I did have an opportunity to talk to her, and I actually had a chance to give her my book. And I said, one of the goals I'm out for in life is to share a stage with Tony Robbins. She's like, oh, really? I'm personal friends with him. I'm like, what? And it's like, those are the types of things that when we set intentions for events, that they literally do happen. So another side note, Jocelyn and I just got confirmation that we're going to share a stage with Tony Robbins on March 2nd. Now, tell me that accident, it doesn't. It's intention. It's about putting ourselves in the positions. And that's what's important about events, not only for the experience, but for the opportunities that will come up. And so that's really about it. Just really wanted to wrap that all together because the events make such a difference. Our attitude as a group, our energy, and no matter if it's social or not or on a phone call, it's making such a huge difference. And I just want to say that is a reflection of all of you being on these calls, elevating your energy, welcoming people, and being authentic. I just felt the call to acknowledge Natalie once again. Natalie, you set a ripple effect on this team for authenticity that opened me up to share the most uncomfortable I've ever shared on Facebook yesterday. And then Drew posted his most authentic and real post that he's ever. So ripple effect. All of you have that kind of greatness and impact in your life. And when you lead from your heart and you lead from authenticity, whether you think that you're a leader or impacting this team, you do. When you are authentic and you speak true from yourself, it ripples effect through all of us and even to the people that we go talk to out in our life. So don't ever hold back. And I was looking at my time, it's 8 o'clock. So sorry I didn't give any chance for anybody else to say anything. Bros, thank you so much for running this with me, Elliot and Drew, and then everyone that joined. Thank you so much. This has been such a great series already. We have one more next week, Series 6. And then so we look forward to seeing all of you then.
Bye, y'all. Thanks for joining.
Goodbye.
Love you.